Okay, so we got this. Okay, so we got the Civic back up on the hoist. Now when we took it for the test run for the injectors, wasn't changing gears very well, so the clutch slave cylinder needs a rebuild. So we're going to pull the master cylinder and the slave cylinder out, strip them down, clean them out. If they need to be re-sleeved, we'll look at that. It's cheaper to just buy a kit and put it through. So one of the local suppliers is going to give us all the seals we need, do a full rebuild, clean it all out, get it all back in, see how we go with that one. And also the front passenger side shock was blown one night. We hit a pothole in town. We have looked around for a replacement one, but being that they're the cheaper aftermarket Chinese coilovers in the car, it's very hard to find a single one, and the ones that we do find, the distance between us and them is quite great. So at this stage we're going to strip it down, try to find seals for it, which I believe that we can, rebuild it, figure out how much fluid needs to go into it, and get it back in the car, and that should fix our issue. Once we get a lows back in, the car will be right to get back on the road and drive around as normal. So we're going to make that happen now, and if we can find anything else along the way, we'll sort that out as well, but otherwise we'll get it going. So our clutch setup in the Civic's pretty easy. This hard line here, 2 bolts under here, this hard line travels around, which we don't need to take out, runs back up into here, goes up from here into this reservoir tank, which we will take off, take that line off. And inside, under the foot pedal, is the nuts and the pin that holds it to the pedal. So we'll take all that out, get it out, and start pulling things apart and see how it looks. We've got them both out, so we'll pull them apart now, have a look and see if there's anything obvious. Otherwise they're both going to get rebuilt, and it was a bit more of a pain in the butt to get out with all those pipes in the way, but at least we know how to get it in nice and easy. Master cylinder and the slave cylinder pulled apart. We've gone out and got some new seals for these, gone to a local brake shop. Now the master cylinder hasn't been replaced that long. It does look new, but we're going to change all the seals anyway. We've got it all apart, flush the whole system when we do it. Get a little bit of 1200 sandpaper inside the slave cylinder, cleaned it and gunk that's in it, check that for any scoring. If there's any issues in there, then we're going to have to change what we're going to do with that. But at this stage we're going to clean it all out. It's all good, put it all back together, get it back in the car, bleed it out.
That's so disgusting! We'll be fine, let's party! Say about that. Very guilty. I'm the devil, biatch. Just kidding, my new catchphrase is I don't give a f.
got the slave and the master cylinder back together, so we'll go chuck them in the car, bleed it out, and see what the clutch feels like after that. We're still left with the front shock coilover, sorry. So we do have a new seal in here, which we managed to find, and an O-ring on there. This has been cleaned up. We've been told that Autotrans fluid is the stuff to use. So we just got to work out how much we're going to put in it. So the idea of how much to put in is literally work out the volume of this tube, work out the volume of this tube, take away the volume of that from the total volume of this, minus 10%, should give us enough comfortable room. So when that piston is fully compressed and the fluid's in the main chamber, we won't have any issues with it trying to force its way out or anything, and won't blow through the seal. And when it goes back the other way, there'll be more than enough in there to suck that up, and we'll see how it goes. If there's a massive noticeable difference between the two, we might even pull the driver's side one out, strip it down, just do the change just for the fun of it. Or if it's too much one way or the other, we may just change the fluid levels. But we'll see how that goes. We won't really know. It's a bit of a guess. So we'll get this thing sorted, but first of all, we'll get this clutch stuff back together, get it in the car so we can get the car up and running again, and then we'll get this front coilover back together and chuck it in as well.
Amount of loud and low passages.
Let's do this! Do this! Smoking! Right? Right on! Hell yeah!
We are going to play a typical number. We are going to play a typical amount of loud passages.
Let's do this! Do this! Yeah! Right? Right on! Hell yeah!
Okay, so we've got the Civic back together, suspension's back in, all the clutches back together and bled out. So we're going to take it for a test drive now, see how everything feels. If there's any issues, come back and fix it, but hopefully she runs sweet. Warning lights are always interesting. Okay, so we've gone for a test drive, brought it back. Suspension feels actually really, really good. I mean, it's a stiff suspension as it is, and all round it feels relatively the same. There's no extra hitting in there or slack in that I can tell. So it feels really, really good. So what we did worked great. So maybe as we go, we'll have to rebuild the others later on. We'll sort of fine tune everything, have a bit of a play with it. Otherwise, the clutch is beautiful, super, super light, nice and easy to use, straight back to what it was. It's beautiful. Couldn't ask for anything better. So yeah, she's up and running again. We can drive around, and another one in the bag.